There's a very high likelihood the cops are getting called. And I was like, oh crap, yep, this is it. This is our downfall.
Let's hear some of the funniest moments that have happened.
I just went over to him. I was like, hey fellas, I got some towels. Let's just get them back on. I was like, if this was a run with guys or something, like you could be naked, I wouldn't care. But like, hey, let's just keep this PG since we're a Christian run club.
What's your favorite podcast, Malachi?
Oh my lord.
Please say it, Will. Please say it.
Girls Gone Bible.
Girls Gone Bible.
Wait, how do you know? Wait, hold up.
I don't know how to say this without being, am I able to get real and explicit, or is that, it's like you're looking at Jesus on the cross as he's being nailed to it, and you're openly saying to him, like, that was not enough. Yet I'm living a double life.
Yeah.
While it may have only been 25% that I was hiding, but hey, 75% of me, I look like a man of God. So empty. That's the most dangerous thing about community, is that it can be so attractive. It can bring so much purpose. It can be so fulfilling. But if it doesn't include Jesus or the Lord or any type of faith, it's just going to leave you in more bondage than what you were in before. If the devil can't reach you with sin, the devil's going to reach you with busyness. The devil's going to reach you with tasks. The devil's going to reach you with do for the Lord.
To make you tired to sin.
Exactly. I yap so much. Y'all got to stop me because I like
I'll
talk for so long.
It's not
it's
that
good,
serious
it's good.
podcast.
I know it's not that serious, guys.
Will, all right. You've been starting this run club we hear that's happening in downtown Ohio. Let's hear some of the funniest moments that have happened so far.
Best one so far, RWC week 1, first 2 hours. So we have cold plunges, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm stretched in like 50 different directions. So when it comes to the details, I still am not really in the details. First run club, I don't really tell people to bring towels or bring extra clothes.
Or to change after.
So I get back from this run, right? We have girls 18 to 30, guys 18 to 30. I come back to 5 guys all in their boxers, like soaking wet.
Dang.
Like white boxers.
Modest is hottest.
Yeah. So like Christian Run Club week 1 canceled. Like, no. It was really like funny, but at the same time, I was just thinking like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? I was like, yo,
you were on the run too, so you weren't able to.
Yes, I was on the run too. Like, these guys were dogs. They finished it in like 15 minutes.
Oh, dang.
So I come back, right? Hype music is playing. And then I look to my right, and there's like a horde of girls here. And then there's a guys here, like, nothing was hidden.
Confident.
Nothing was hidden. So I just went over to him. I was like, hey, fellas, I got some towels. Let's just get them back on. I was like, if this was a run with guys or something, like you could be naked, I wouldn't care. But like, hey, let's just keep this PG since we're a Christian run club.
That is hilarious.
So,
hey, fellas.
Yeah, that kind of set the atmosphere for the rest of the 10 weeks. So.
Oh, okay.
Barriers were broken. Like, barriers were broken. Like, it's the closeness from day one.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
That's good.
So these guys finished in 15 minutes?
Oh, we have guys that
they're crazy.
Are like ultras. We have guys that show up, they run ultras. But then we have girls and guys that walk the entire thing, and it's the best Saturday of their week.
That's me.
Okay.
I walk. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. How long does it usually take you to run you do 3 miles? What do you do?
Yeah, it's a 5K. So it's like, for me, it's 17, 18 minutes.
That's pretty good.
So it's like still good, but
yeah.
I didn't even like running when I started this. I was just like, well, crap, I actually have to run now. I have a run club. So
yeah,
I kind of forced myself.
Hey, that's pretty good though. What do you want to get to?
I don't really care. I could honestly care less.
Yeah.
I just want to run a marathon, but I haven't.
That'd be sweet. I could see you doing it.
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. When are you going to start running?
I have started running.
Oh.
I go to the run club.
Yeah. Bro, where have you been? That's what I'm saying.
Hold up.
Yeah,
hold up.
Saturday. Yep. Thank you.
My plans is to be there soon. I've had like a Bible study that I usually do at 9:30.
You got to bring the Bible study run with Grace.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then have
the Bible
study
study's not going on. So, yeah. Now I'm free. So.
Hey, were you there at the original location in German Village?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, we're going back this Saturday. There's a very high likelihood the cops are getting called because when we first at the park, it overflowed with 130, and now there's like
300.
Yep, now there's like 300, and we're gonna be going back to the park because
get the cops, get them involved, let them run that.
Let them run them safe.
We actually did have the cops come one time,
really,
and I was like, oh crap, yep, this is it. This is our downfall. Cop came over and he's like, hey man, He's like, yeah, I know German Village people, brother. I love what you're doing. He gave me his number. He's like, if anyone comes in here and harasses you, just call me.
Yes,
And I
sir.
was
That's
like,
yes.
amen,
That
brother.
is the guy. We love him.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I like that you guys started posting that like it's for everyone, not just like full on runners. Because
Yeah.
even you said you don't like running, but you started a run club, and not everyone can just like get up and run a 5K like that. But
Oh, I could care less.
But
Like, this could
people,
be a
it's the
yoga
community.
club. Yeah,
It's
this
the
could be
yoga
a
club.
like
He's like,
this
"Fill
could
out
be a
your
Lego
mat."
building club, and if you have the same culture and atmosphere, people are gonna love it because they feel loved, they feel known, and
That's
they feel
true.
seen, knowing that there's like a God that has a sovereign hand over their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like running is just the novelty. It's like
Yeah.
I don't like running, but I love communities. So I'll
Let's do it.
suffice for running
Yeah.
for
sure.
community.
Yeah.
True.
And it's also amazing because there is an aspect of like it pushes you. Like, who wants to get up? The fact we still have hundreds of people pulling up on a Saturday when it's 35 degrees
Yeah.
Exactly.
to run and get in a cold plunge. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
In a parking lot in downtown.
Yeah.
But like that's what shows like how important community is that people are starving for it.
Exactly. Yep. Community is very important.
Grace, did you want to get into one of our questions?
All right. So, well, we've seen just the impact that you guys have already had from the social media of like running after cameras and bringing all the hype there and just seeing people going in the cold plunge tubes. But we also want to know, like, I don't know, like, where did this start? Like, did it start with you personally? Like, what started the fire on the inside of you?
Well, I think this requires like a little bit of my testimony. Grew up in an amazing Christian family. Grew up here at Faith Life, literally birth through 18. Family still goes here. Nothing to complain about my life. I've been blessed beyond imagination with community, parents that love me, a marriage to look up to. And I got hit with the realization probably my junior year of high school when I moved out to Arizona by myself for soccer, left my private school community, left everything for a sport. And I realized how lonely it is to be without community. My faith was in my community. It wasn't personal. My faith was in my parents and it wasn't personal. So I would say at 17, like that's when I truly, truly realized what it meant to take my faith personal.
Yeah.
Because like I was alone in the desert with 120 guys I didn't know. Half of them are foreign, so I couldn't really talk with them.
Yeah.
Fast forward, senior year, going into my freshman year of college. All I want to do is go Division I, man. Didn't care about anything else. Ended up getting that goal. American senior year, was on top of the world. Community, had a bunch of friends. Didn't really have a care in the world with being intentional with them. Ended up going to UNC Greensboro for soccer my freshman year of college. And I got hit with another wave of realization. This was like part 2. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a freshman going into a Division I environment. You know, you're expecting all these Nike athletes, all these guys to be on top of the world. They have, like, they're rolling in life, right?
Yeah.
I go in there, anything outside of the field was just empty. On their phones all day, depressed, alone. And it's not that was like, it was me too. I kind of lost my purpose there. All I went to was practice, eat, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
And I just saw like, wow, this could have been my life if I wouldn't have had my family, if I wouldn't have had the friends that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine that for probably some of these guys, this had been their entire life. Like this had been their reality.
Yeah.
Their identity.
And that honestly did have a part in why when I did come back to Columbus, I didn't feel like the Division I life for me was my purpose.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but for me, I just kind of felt like it was self-seeking. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more I want to do in life than just say I play Division I and have it consume my entire life.
Yeah.
So I ended up deciding to come back home to Columbus. So for the first time in my life in the city that I always wanted to leave, always wanted to travel, I'm like, well, crap, now I'm actually here. But now what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And 19 years old this past April, I get home from my off season and I'm like, I need to do something. I've been so lackadaisical in my faith. I've been so not intentional with the community, with all of my blessings, like with all the ways I've been blessed, I haven't utilized it to pour out onto others. So I was like, what can I do? And so I just started talking with a few of my buddies like, hey man, like run clubs are popping up everywhere. You see in California, you see everywhere. Like I lived out in Los Angeles last winter. Great time. Definitely wasn't living for the Lord. Definitely wasn't being fully bought in with no compromise in my heart. I was saying one thing, acting like a man of God, but then my private life said the opposite. And seeing run clubs, they're amazing. You know, they're hype. You have hundreds of people that go to them in LA.
Yeah.
But it's so empty. It is so empty. That's the most dangerous thing about community, is that it can be so attractive. It can bring so much purpose. It can be so fulfilling. But if it doesn't include Jesus or the Lord or any type of faith, it's just going to leave you in more bondage than what you were in before.
That's true.
That's good.
And so I come back home. I'll kind of speed it up, and I'm realizing I'm talking really
No,
long.
no, you're good.
But
Keep it going.
come home in April, and I just talk about this. I'm a big talker. I really just brought it up to a few people every other week. I literally have drawings of like some designs on shirts. I was like, man, if we do this, gotta have some merch with it, et cetera, et cetera. I love fashion.
Merch.
But again, the type of man that I was, I just didn't want to follow through, because I was like, I don't want to be bound to Columbus.
Yeah.
I was like, the thought of being here every single weekend and having a responsibility that, man, I can't just leave. I can't just bounce around like I've been doing my whole life. Arizona, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Not really being intentional with where my feet were planted my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Like, we have a missions field like in the city we're in.
For sure.
Like, it's not in the nations. Like, yes, if we're called to the nations, go to the nations. But like, from as small as our families to our city, like that's our missions field.
So good.
So anyways, I say that to say fast forward to beginning of July, probably after 2 months of talking about this, I meet up with one of my men's group leaders. We're lifting, and little do you know, I bring it up to him for probably the second or third time of this run club community, where I did have a vision for it, but it wasn't as clear. And he's like, look, man, this is probably the third or fourth time you've brought this up to me. When are you going to start it?
Yeah.
And it was him. He's the one that pushed me over the edge to do it. Literally the day after. From then on up until now, my life has consisted of coffees, lunches, dinners, voice memos, calls, and literally nothing else. And for the first month, I spent it building a leadership team, people that I did know, people that I didn't know. I was over here sending 5-minute voice memos to people I had no clue who they were. But they just seemed like cool leaders, people that were entrepreneurs, people that were of faith. And I had no care in the world if they said no. I was just like, you guys need to know what's in my head and what's actually possible in this city.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's nothing like this. Like, there's no run club in the country that's like centered around Christ, but it comes with all the attractiveness of an actual big run club.
It's true.
Because Christians need to know how to have fun. Like, Christians need to know what it's like to be authentic and genuine and real with people and be like, hey, man, here's my testimony. I've been there, done that. Here's how you can get out of it. And that was like my whole vision with this. It's like, people need to know how incredible it is to walk with Jesus. Not in this bubbled Christian environment I've grown up in, not in this bubbled little church community where it's like, man, I'm not really going to associate myself with these people. Or there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with growing up the way that I assume a lot of us did. You know, I know homeschooled, right?
Yeah, for high school, rest of high school.
No, school? Okay.
Yeah, school.
Well,
Multiple schools.
I assume we grew up with like amazing Christian families.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, for me, I was so blind.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the hardest thing is when you grow up, just having it be so familiar and so easy to have someone to pray for you, so easy to go to someone for prayer.
Yeah.
When I could sit here for the next 4 hours and talk to you about guys 18 to 35 years old that haven't been in church their entire lives.
They've never
They
experienced
haven't had
that.
a single guy be there for them that's vulnerable.
Wow.
They've been putting on this mask for 20 years.
A role model.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Who am I to stay in my bubble? Who am I to be afraid to be uncomfortable and have this whole secular side of my life that I am a literal light in?
Yeah.
I like that. That's
And
good.
That's good.
that is what humbled me as a man, is I couldn't even say, even with the amazing Christian family I grew up in, even with my faith or my man of godliness, it's like I had a form of godliness is what I would say. I was self-righteous, but I still wouldn't say it was until last January that I received that conviction of like, dang, this is what it means to pick up my cross as a man and like fully surrender my flesh.
Yeah.
And so I guess I say all of that as like my testimony and my past and the situations I've been put in, I believe like have led me
Yeah, they had a purpose.
to being a part of a community and bringing people together, just because like that sits so much with me. It's like not just what I love to do, but it's I've been so blessed with it, and I've never poured out onto other people, and my entire life has been about me. oh, I want to be in business and entrepreneurship. Oh, I'm going to grow these businesses. Oh, I'm going to have a Mercedes Benz by 25.
Yeah.
I haven't made money in 4 months. I haven't worked in 4 months, and I've never felt less confused on anything in my entire life. Like, I have not made a cent off run with Christ, but you know what? I could do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wouldn't be logical, but I could do this for the rest of my life and be with people and show them how incredible it is to walk with Jesus
Yeah.
with no second thought.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my 2 cents on.
But I
like,
also
the
find
process
that to
up
be
to
really
now.
cool that you just said you haven't worked in 4 months, but the fact that you know that God's going to provide the things that you need, you're not even worried about it. Like you're just you're just all you want to do is just keep going towards God, and it's like you know that He's going to provide everything you need, and that's things that we need to look in our lives is like, okay, what are we seeking after? Like, are we seeking things of this world? Because you're not going to get everything you need if you're seeking things of this world. Like, but it's just cool that you have peace because you know who your Father is. So I find that to be really cool.
We were going to ask that question, like in your testimony, or what started from being this Christian boy who grew up with a godly family to starting this run club and like publicly pursuing the Lord in a way you haven't before. Would you say it was that conviction you had last January? It was that like the turning point, the like point of repentance where you actually turned away from that double lifestyle, and like from this, that's been birthed, like this run club, because you saw the need. You had the conviction for the heart of the people that weren't willing to go out and be the harvesters. So would you say that was like your moment last January when the Lord convicted you with that, and from that, this was like fruit from it?
Unknown fruit, because I didn't know in January that this would
This would
come.
happen. Yeah.
I didn't even tie it all together when I first had the idea for this, that it all kind of all led to one point.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this without being, I mean, am I able to get real and explicit, or is that? Or
Yeah.
I guess, like, well, to be so honest with you guys, after just countless conversations with guys, specifically guys, because I try and really get coffees and lunches with guys that come to Run Club that don't know Jesus, or guys that had just started out in their faith. There's a lot of baggage that comes with that you need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because just as much as it's amazing to follow Jesus, and just as amazing it is to find community that uplifts you, you can't just like stay in your sin. You can't be living in that compromise. Yes, you're not just going to get rid of it like this, but every day, like it takes a daily commitment. Like I don't think people talk about enough to young adults like me. I wish someone convicted me my entire high school career of like, you cannot stay in your sin. Like if there's an ounce of compromise in your heart, like that takes daily surrender.
Yeah.
And like, that's like the sacrifice and like picking up my cross as a man. I couldn't say it was until last January that I did that. Like, who am I to call myself a man of God? Because I did. When last fall, you know, on Division I soccer player, North Carolina, there's Charlotte, UNC Chapel Hill there. On the weekends, you know, I'm living a double life, going to Chapel Hill with my teammates who knew I was a man of God, but I'm doing the same things they are. Who am I as a man of God that I put on this mask that I was? My family knew, all my hometown church friends knew, girlfriend at the time's family knew. Yet I'm living a double life. While it may have only been 25% that I was hiding, but hey, 75% of me, I look like a man of God. So it's all right. I'm a very like self-aware person. I always overanalyze. So for me, I was just justifying everything I did. I was like, well, hey, my teammates are doing this extent. As long as I just hit that halfway mark, I still look like a man of God. I'm all right. I'm clean. But it's like, who am I to say that I believe in Jesus Christ? I believe that he died on the cross for my sins. Who am I to abuse that? That's literally, it's, man. It's like you're looking at Jesus on the cross as he's being nailed to it, and you're openly saying to him, like, that was not enough.
Dang.
Because it's almost worse that for me, I knew what I was doing. I knew, because I had the most amazing community, the most amazing example of a marriage for a family. I was in a Christian school my entire life. You don't think I knew going out to the bars was not godly? But for me, it was always justifying because I had no conviction. And so I guess for me, like that conviction came with a lot of surrender and a lot of freedom that led me to this opportunity to lead this community, because I don't believe in any way whatsoever I could be doing anything I'm doing now if I wouldn't have surrendered and received that conviction of what I was doing.
It was a step of obedience. And from that, you stepped into another, like, I don't want to say season. I don't want to go into, into what's your favorite podcast, Malachi?
Oh my Lord.
Please say it, Will. Please say it.
Girls Gone Bible.
Girls Gone Bible.
Wait, how do you know? Wait, hold up.
Oh my Lord, here we go.
I don't want to go into that.
How do you know this?
Brother, how do I?
We've talked. No,
I'm just in a season of singleness
Yeah, I'm
right
just in
now,
a
and the
season
Lord's
of-
just called
yeah.
me to be by
the
myself.
season of
All right, hold up. Nah, we gotta skip. Nah, that's not my favorite podcast. I think it's a good podcast.
It's an all right podcast.
All right, my bad. It's
Girls
an all
Gone
right
Bible.
podcast.
I like
I'm just
that.
kidding. I love Girls
anyways.
Gone Bible.
Have them
Yeah,
go to
they
the
nothing
got a
against
good
them.
thing
Have them
going.
join the run club, guys.
Huh?
Have them run the run. Join the run club.
Have them join the Run Club A.
So I want to go back to the last vein, because I think at first when we were sitting down of like, okay, how do we, like, where's this conversation going to go? Like, not that we would know, but like, was there one moment? But it sounds like there was just maybe one step. Like some people are like, have that come to Jesus moment, or like the road to Damascus, if we're going to use biblical, like, synonyms or whatever. But it doesn't sound like there was one moment. Just like you just woke up one day like, oh, everything's great, I'm going to follow Jesus. But there was just that one step.
Hmm.
You weren't like there was a dream or a word or a
Well,
altar cry.
I mean, if I'm gonna be completely honest, this is okay. Well, we're getting deep. So, Passion Conference. You know, obviously, I've grown up going to Christian conferences. I've grown up at plenty of worship nights. So for me, so Passion Conference takes place 2 days after New Year's,
Yeah.
and me and some of my boys decide to go this winter. And, you know, obviously we're going there like, oh man, we get to see Sadie Robertson. We get to, you know, my Duck Dynasty wife. You know
Been
what
there,
I mean?
bruh. Been there. Been
Come
there.
on.
Married.
Been
Yeah.
there, bruh.
Anyways, all jokes aside, we go there knowing like, hey, we're going to get great worship, great sermons,
Yeah.
but still just lacking conviction of like, we are going here to be fed
Yeah.
and to change from our ways. That was not in my head. I was like, we're just going to have a good time with a bunch of great Christian people, X, Y, and Z. Have a great time in Atlanta. I go there and I hear John Pacluda, which this is all crazy. I'll get into this. Jonathan Pacluda is one of the first speakers. And when I tell you every single thing this man said, I sat there just like this, like, wow. His conviction, his lack of conviction his entire life through college, millionaire, went in the corporate world, had the nice car, went to the nice clubs, buying thousands of dollars of tables and alcohol and et cetera, like the high life. He had it all, the emptiest man alive. Until the day that he heard a sermon on how, I'm not going to be able to explain it great, but it's basically one of his pastors talked about this wild horse that's free in it was like in Wyoming or something. And this pastor was kind of using it as an analogy, like to paint a picture of like this wild horse, right? It's so free, can do whatever it wants. And then like the ranger comes and it tames it. But this horse, right, doesn't have adequate amount of food. It doesn't really have a specific place to stay. There's predators, there's all this stuff. It's roaming free though. So it's free. It's not in bondage. It's not submitting. But this wrangler takes it in, right? The horse is crazy. It's trying to get all this stuff out. It's trying to do all this and that and this and that. The wrangler eventually takes it back to its ranch. It has to submit to the wrangler. The wrangler is taming it. It takes days and weeks for the horse to submit to it. And it's like, I know I probably missed a lot of the sermon, so it probably sucked, but like that's who we are to our Father.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow.
it's an act of submission, but it's the best thing we could ever do in our life.
Yeah.
It's the most prosperous thing we can ever do is fully surrender our flesh and submit our flesh to the Father. And he used that analogy on top of everything else he said. And I'm just like, I felt sick. I'm not the type to hear audibly from the Lord. I'm not that, oh, the Lord told me this. The Lord told me this. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
people do, obviously. For me, I get a gut-wrenching feeling. And in that moment, 60,000 people at Mercedes-Benz, I received a gut-wrench feeling. And I leave Passion Conference, right? Being so honest with you. I leave Passion Conference. I'm on fire for about a week. I get back to campus. Boom. Same thing. that following weekend, 2 weekends from then. But that one weekend back, I'm there, right? I'm like, oh man, I got the self-control. Oh man, I can do this and that. That weekend, I'm sitting there and I get hit for the first time with a deep, deep conviction. Of like, this is the like, I can't stay in like this. I can't stay in this gray space. Yes, I may not have been off the rails. I may not have been that crazy guy, but I was still living in that compromise. An inch of compromise, like you give the devil an inch, he'll take a mile. Like everyone knows that. Everyone says that, but it's so true. I was giving the devil that inch to where in my head, he's not taking over my entire life. I still am cool. I'm a very collected guy.
Yeah.
But that was like that was the weekend that I knew. So I wish I could say like, oh, Passion Conference. Then I went home and no, I literally the weekend after, same thing. And since then, I can't even explain to you, like if you're watching this podcast and you're a Christian guy that grew up the same way as me and like you know what you're doing, I don't think people talk about it enough of like emphasizing that like you have to like kill your sin.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's not just going to fly off of you. That's where community and counsel comes in to support you. But like kill your sin, flee from it. And you do not understand the doors that the Lord will open. You do not understand like the way the Lord is going to transform your life. It's incredible. Like there's not a time in my life where any of my friends I talked about doing ministry.
And then
I never once said a word about ministry, leading a men's group, leading a prayer group. I love doing them. But ministry to me just sounded like, it's a little weird. Like that's just not me. I'm business. I'm Mr. Network, business, whatever it may be. The past 4 months of my life, like tell me why I have not felt less confused on something I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've never felt more peace in what I'm doing while I'm simultaneously not making a thing. So for me, it's like, who am I to deny like what the Lord can do?
Yeah.
I know it's a song, but like literally that song is like, he is more than able. Ephesians 3:20.
Yeah.
He was able to do immeasurably more than we could ever ask, think, or imagine. It truly is the verse for when you surrender your life to the Lord. Because how can you expect God to work in you? Like, yes, Jesus works on your lacks. His grace is sufficient. But I truly believe that me living in open disobedience denied so many things. And who knows, someone else could have started a Christian run club that's now everywhere, not me, because I was not ready as a leader.
At the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people think that when they give their life to Christ or they fully surrender their flesh, that from there it'll be like clean and free, which you are. But a lot of sin is a routine. And so I feel like when you said you went back to campus or that next weekend, it was probably your routine to do that. But the difference was when you went out to complete that routine, because your body and your mind are used to it, you felt that conviction to change from it. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why this is happening. It's because you've set your mind and your body into this routine of sinning. And then from there, you need to fully but when I go to do it again, it doesn't feel the same again because of the conviction, because of the Holy Spirit. And so did that happen to you?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just giving your life to Christ is the beginning of there's no ceiling to the depth of your relationship with the Lord. Like the minute you begin to think, oh man, like I feel like I'm above, I feel self-righteous, I feel like I've hit that sweet spot. Man, that's the moment you deny that and you just press in and go tenfold deeper. Because the minute you get that head knowledge, the minute you feel like you're on a steady pace with the Lord is the minute that you just like that wall goes up, like a wall of pride.
100%.
And so that's been my biggest conviction recently is, obviously cat's out the bag. It's a sweet run club. There's so many people talking, so many conversations. I feel great. I feel fulfilled. I now feel for so many leaders, like Pastor Gary, Pastor Drenda, pastors everywhere, humbling yourself. Like you have to be on your hands and knees, humbling yourself every single day. Be like, Lord, strip me of pride, strip me of ego, because that's so dangerous. I almost want to hide. I'm at the point where the past 3 weeks, I haven't been able to find that solitude, quiet place. Because now, if the devil can't reach you with sin, Mark Comer, the ruthless elimination of hurry, The devil's going to reach you with busyness.
Yep.
The devil's going to reach you with
gosh.
tasks. The devil's going to reach you with do for the Lord.
To make you
So-
tired to sin.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's crazy.
So it's like the minute you begin to think you're on a streamline, bam, that's where the devil reaches you.
Yep.
So it's staying in constant.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and it's so dangerous because that's when you get
like-
that coast.
Well, even that coast is like, oh, but I'm doing good godly things.
Yeah.
But like it's
Could
for the
care less.
Lord.
Oh my
I'm
God.
doing it for the Lord God. I don't want to say no because it's your thing that I'm saying no to. But it's almost like self-righteousness, what you were saying of like, I don't want to say no.
Yeah.
I feel like
But
a
yeah.
main component of what God is like trying to instill on this generation, and so many of my close friends, so many people, I've been hearing it constantly. It's like we always focus on Jesus, like, what can you do for me, Jesus? If I do this, what can you do for me? Like, oh man, if I just practice these faith principles, I'm going to receive X, Y, and Z. But it's like, yes, that all flows, but what does it flow out of? Seeking his face and nothing else.
Yeah.
yeah.
Seeking his face in the monotonous, like the Lord just wants you to sit there and admire his beauty.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still can't, like, I still want to know like what it means to be like enveloped by God. To be like, man, there's nothing else I want in this life than to sit here in my chair in the corner of my room, close my eyes, and like in your throne room. Because out of that throne room, out of that secret place flows everything, flows this plan for your life, your destiny, your purpose, your mission, the doors opening, all of that flows out of there.
Yeah.
But if we just focus on our tasks, if we focus on what can,
Good deeds.
yeah, it's like, depart from me, for I never knew you. That's my worst fear.
Crazy.
My worst fear is to be looking face to face to God and him say, depart from me, for I never knew you.
But Lord, we cast out these demons in your
Yeah.
name.
All these things.
It's crazy.
Crazy. We
All
did all these
man.
good
things, All
deeds.
this ministry.
It's
All
getting
this.
juicy on this pod.
I know.
No, and I'm loving it. Like okay. So I think this is perfect. Now we can go into this. The people that you've talked to, the things that you've seen, the experiences you've been a part of. I mean, you have from my perspective and from the things that I'm like watching from the outside in, you seem to be on the ground floor of just like how you've said, like Main Street ministry or downtown ministry, which whatever, downtown Columbus, whatever, like your next door ministry. How have you been impacted by that? Just seeing, like people that I don't know, who have lived here for all their lives and suddenly, bam, I don't want to give it a name, but like some people say, oh, it's revival. Oh, it's a move of God.
It is revival.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to package it in just that one word because it's the Spirit of God, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But like, what have you seen? Like, what have you seen? Like the outcry of specifically young people.
So, one, there is a revival in Columbus. There's nothing like what's going on anywhere but in Columbus. It is crazy. I will speak on a story here soon, but it's all been perspective. I feel like perspective is everything. Like the more, like literally day after day, conversation after conversation, I gain a broader perspective on how like literally lost and broken so many guys my age are, guys that are 40.
Yeah.
I'll have lunch or I'll have a conversation with a guy in his 30s and I'm like, I haven't been through the hell that you've been through. I haven't been through this. But like, let me tell you a guy that has changed my life and he can change yours just as much no matter if you're 20 years older than me. And it's just that people don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that people hate Jesus.
They just
It's
don't
not
know.
that it's not that these atheists, it's like, no, they just don't know.
Yeah.
They've grown up with childhood trauma. They've grown up with a skewed misconception of who God is. They've grown up with friends, parents, such poor examples that maybe took them to church, maybe they didn't. But it's like the minute, like, I don't know, heck, we could bring someone in here right now who doesn't believe in God, or someone right now who says all over their social media how much they're against Christianity. Put them on this couch right now for the past 45 minutes, and I guarantee you 100 million%, they're leaving thinking different. Because who wouldn't feel the love like in this room right now?
Yeah.
It's just that people don't know.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest calling we have, is to make it known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who are we to sit in our bubble, sit in our security of finances, our job? Who are we not to sacrifice that
Yeah.
to expand his kingdom and make heaven full.
Yeah.
Then our comfortability.
So I guess that's a broad way to answer your question, but perspective.
Yeah.
And you
Perspective
say
is good.
lost. When we see lost people, I know we've had a previous guest who describes like different lost generation, but what is your perspective of Gen Z, or I don't know how much you touched Gen Alpha, but it's like Gen Z. What are they, the lost generation, or
No, we are not,
Yeah.
man. We are the starving generation. We are the starving generation that's seeking, like,
Yeah, for
it's not like
sure.
we're dead. It's not that we don't care. The thing is that people are so hungry that they're
Yeah.
going to all the wrong communities.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the most dangerous thing about community is any campus bar you go to, you're feeling loved, you're feeling energetic, you're feeling accepted. Bam, Monday through Friday, you're put in tenfold more bondage than what you were in before
Yeah.
because of how empty it is.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
imagine if people knew about something like Run with Christ, something about Young Society, something about any young adult group. All of that energy, all of that culture, all funneled through Jesus.
Yeah.
And it'll change everything.
Exactly.
And that's why, like, I've been blessed to be on this ministry leadership team called Unite. I don't know if you guys know the Pruitts or Grant Trout or Jenny Allen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I somehow, some way got blessed to travel with them to college campuses. I've been to Ole Miss, University of Florida, and then Texas A&M,
Yeah.
where I'll just go there and just tell people about this revival night. I'll go into frats and sororities. Like if you tell me a year ago, yeah, Will, you're going to be talking to people in the middle of day parties at frats about Jesus and about this revival night, you would have me so messed up because that was me a year ago. I was at that day party. I was at that, like, that's
were
what's
there,
so
no?
crazy. Yeah, it's like, no, but like, that's what's so crazy is like, that's how fast the Lord can change you
Crazy.
when you surrender. Like, I almost want to talk about this because
Yeah.
witnessing Ole Miss and Florida and A&M, people need to know what's actually happening nationwide.
Yeah.
Each of these college campuses, over 1,000 people coming to the altar,
Getting
hundreds baptized.
baptized in truck beds.
Yes,
Is that right?
baptized in
Yeah.
truck beds. Like, I was so blessed to be able to be in a truck bed at A&M and just hear these girls and these guys' testimonies, people talking about their sexual addiction, people talking about their porn, people talking about all this brokenness. And it's like, it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's bondage. It's seeking something that's not the only one who can sustain you. And it's crazy that all it took was one night for people to know.
Yeah.
And it's like we sit here going through our day-to-day forgetting what our mission is. And the college campuses is honestly as what's been so reassuring that maybe I should be doing ministry. Maybe I should be. I debate it. I don't debate it. I'm just figuring out what the Lord wants me to do.
Yeah.
Bro, you should preach.
And
take it
You
away.
need to
so
preach.
it's like Texas A&M, right? I literally got driven to the airport, or I got picked up from the airport at Houston, right? I had no ride getting from there because all the leaders were already doing ministry on campus, right? Some random sorority girl hears about there's some guy from Houston that needs picked up. And I'm like, oh crap.
He says, where is this going,
Because
guys?
like one of our leaders was like, yeah, because none of them have cars. These are all a few college age leaders.
Yeah.
They're going around talking to all these people on campus that have cars and like, hey, can one of you guys go pick up this guy from Houston? That's 2 hours away. And this random sorority girl that eventually I found out did not know Jesus. I get picked up in a car by her. She's a freshman at A&M. We spend that entire 2-hour car ride home just talking about her viewpoint on Jesus. And I'm sitting there and it was just so sad to hear about like the way she's living isn't in congruence with her faith, and her viewpoint on Jesus isn't actually who Jesus is. And it's so sad, but like she's one in thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of college age kids that don't know what it's like to be in a room like this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's just been my mission, is to literally let people, teens, 20s, 30s, like how genuinely incredible it is to be surrounded by people who love Jesus.
Yeah.
And also how, while doing that, staying in your sin, like you can't be living in compromise.
Mm,
So
So good.
yeah.
good.
So good.
Like that.
I mean, you've got the microphone. You've got, I don't know how many Gen Zers, Gen Alphas you've got on the other end of these cameras, but what would you tell them about Jesus right now?
He's so awesome. He is like genuinely so funny how, like, it's just funny to me. It genuinely is because I've known who Jesus is my entire life.
Yeah.
Known.
Yeah.
I had a plan for my life. I had this ideology for my entire life, but Jesus will wreck your life. Whether it's in the way you want, that's the dangerous thing about surrendering and submitting.
It's true.
So like, don't be careful, do it in boldness. But what you got to know about Jesus is that with that full surrender comes a lot of change.
Yep.
But you do not realize the fulfillment and the purpose that'll come through when it comes with that full surrender. So I guess that's what I want people to know is like, he's not just a drug. He's not someone that you open up your Bible. Oh, how can I get an anxiety verse today? How can I get a healing verse? That's amazing. Jesus will heal your anxiety. Yes and amen. His promises are yes and amen.
Yeah.
But if we are only going to Jesus for our finances, for our peace, for our anxiety, we're missing the whole point of seeking his face and nothing else.
Yeah.
He doesn't say to seek his hand. There's not a verse in the Bible that says to seek my hand. It says seek my face. Seek first his kingdom and all his treasures will be given unto you. Matthew 6:33. So I know that wasn't like a one-liner, but it
No.
was
That was
like,
good, though.
That was
that's
good. Yeah.
that's my explanation of who Jesus is that it's not comfortable. It's not freaking easy. It's not this lackadaisical faith. It's not a Sunday morning faith. It's a freaking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
You're all
Friday,
in.
Saturday. You're all in
Yeah.
or you're all out. Like Paul says, he's like, eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow we die or today we die, something like that. But like pick up your cross. Because it's like if we choose it, like if we're living half in, half out, might as well eat, drink, and be merry. Do whatever we want. Don't be half, be either all out or all in because he died for you. And like, who are we to like openly tell him like, no, I'm keeping this in my flesh. So
Dang.
Yeah.
That's good.
Crazy.
That was-
It's good.
Preaching to me today.
I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, let's see.
What you got, Grace?
I mean,
That covered a
we're
lot.
off topic, but in the
honestly.
best way possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I think it was natural too because a lot of our questions were answered. It was just
Really?
curiosity of like
I yab so
Of
much.
just
Y'all gotta stop me
conversation.
because I'll
Welcome
I'll
to
talk
the
for so
No,
long.
It's
no,
Not
it's
That
good,
Serious
it's good.
podcast.
I
So
know
we're
it's not
going
that
serious.
serious, guys.
all right. So, Will, this has been an amazing. I've loved every bit of this conversation. I know I'm like not literally, but like in the edge of my seat, just in my heart. If somebody wants to get connected to you or get connected with Run with Christ, like where do they go?
Yeah, just go to our Instagram. I mean, right now it's kind of still in the beginning stages, but check out our Instagram. It's
Yeah.
literally Run W Christ. We post everything on there. We have every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. We're still going to go through the winter time. We have worship night this coming Wednesday, but I know when people watch this, you're going to be seeing the aftermath. So, hey, if you didn't come and you knew about it, like you're going to regret it because it's insane. But yeah, it's going everywhere. It's in a lot of cities now. So just praise Jesus.
All right, that is the final. We're wrapping it up with this episode. I want to say thank you to everyone that has watched this. I hope you guys got something out of it. Leave a comment if you want us to talk about something else. And also leave a comment about who you want to see next in the podcast. We'll see you next time.